this out, you lot. I got a little bit, no, not bored, I never get bored, but a little bit fidgety. And I thought to myself, well, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to make this to be quite a nice little bike. You know, I'm going to clean it up nicely, and hopefully then I'll be able to get rid of it and make a bit of money to put towards the buggy build. Now I know that it drives and it runs alright. So what I've done, as you can see, I've got rid of all the rust off of these bars. So now I'm going to paint them. I'm going to primer them and paint them. And I haven't got any black, but I have got some red. Like that, red. So I'm going to paint them red. Nice. And I'm going to try and do the forks as well. But unfortunately I already snapped one of the little bolts here that I'm going to have to try and fix. And these ones are proper stuck in there solid, so I'm not going to take the forks off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean them up as they're on the bike, like that. Give them a clean up, and they'll make them look twice as better. Thing is, it's supposed to be stainless, but it obviously isn't because it's gone bloody rusty. But anyway, I'm going to give it a bit of a clean up, make it look a bit better. It's one side primed, I think. All nice and dry next to the old fire. Turn them over. Do the other side. Hopefully I've got enough primer left. Then we can stick a coat of actual paint on. Sweet. Second coat of primer's on there. Not second coat, but the other side. I primed up the old bar clamps. Currently cleaning off the bottom ones. I'm also giving them a bit of a buff on the forks here. I'm not grinding them, I'm buffing them with a buffing wheel. Not finished yet, but it's just to get the rust off. That's all it's to do. Make it look a little bit more appealing, at least. So, you know, because the first thing you see when you look at this bike is the rust on the forks and on the handlebars. So if I can get rid of that, it's going to look a bit more appealing. Don't know how I'm going to get the rust mark off the seat yet. I'm going to take a wire brush to all that corrosion on the engine. I don't know what I'm going to do about that exhaust. I might buff it off and paint the exhaust black. I've got some. I only say black because I've got black exhaust paint. So I might paint that black yet. Actually, I wonder, is this heat proof? It's petrol resistant. Non-crack. I don't think it's heat proof though. I think plastic and wood. Yeah, I don't think it's heat proof. This isn't. I don't think so. I can't put this on it because it will burn straight off. So, but I know I've got some heat. I've got some actual black exhaust paint, heat proof exhaust paint. So probably might paint that black yet because it'll look a bit better than it is all rusty, won't it? So that's what I'll do. So I'm just gonna crack on now, buffing down these forks. Got to do the other side, and if I can get my disc in there, I'll do that rust in there as well. I can't take this off because that screw's jammed. I don't want to snap the screw off. I'll just work around it. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, I'm doing that so far, and see how we can make it look. This is the second coat now of paint. It's sort of like a looking on my viewfinder on the camera, it looks very, very light pink, whereas in actual fact it's like kind of a cherry red. If you can imagine a cherry red, that's the colour it actually is. It looks very pink on my viewfinder. Whether it's going to come out pink or not on the actual video on your computer screens or phone screens is another matter. But it's actually like a cherry red. Kind of the same colour as that, which is coming out the same on my viewfinder anyway. So, should match fairly well, I hope. So now, I'm just waiting for the old fire there to bake that coat on nicely. And then I'll flip them over, give that other side 2 coats, flip those over, give them some coats on the sides so they look the same. And then I'm going to put a bit of tape around the bottom and all around here so I can paint these. I'm going to finish cleaning them because I haven't finished cleaning them yet. Look. Paint them so they match, and then put all the bars back on. Just need to finish off getting rust off around here and a few bits along here, and then we'll be all ready to go. This isn't a particularly good example because I'm not doing I'm not aiming to do a proper good job on it because it's just a, a little bit of a rusted old bike as it is. But when you're doing it, you know what? A lot of people say you can't get a good finish out of spray, a spray can. If you do it properly, you can get a very nice finish. You can't get a proper finish as you would do if it was done with a, in a proper environment with the right air and everything like that, and you've got a spray gun. That's gonna come out quite nicely. But considering that all I'd done was buff the rust off, put a coat of white primer on, bake it on with a fire, a little heat like that, and then getting 2 coats of paint on it, it's not coming out too bad yet. And one of the keys is there's going to be some controversy, there's going to be some people telling me I'm doing everything wrong, as there always is. But if you got to get the coats on light and thin. If you just spray on a thick coat, you're going to get runs, but also it's just not going to work as well. What you need to do is you need to spray, you need to be like that. Keep the can as level as possible, because if you start doing it like that or like that or like that, you're going to get spatters and spots of paint come out. You want to keep it as level as possible and go tst, 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 like that. That way you get an even coat on each pass. And don't try and, because you'll see here, that's not a spot of paint, that's an imperfection in the metal. But you see here, you can still see some white through the paint all the way around. You still see a little bit of white. It's because it's a thin coat. Once this thin coat has gone tacky, not dried completely, but just tacky when you touch it, not so much that you leave a fingerprint or it comes on your finger, but just so it's a little bit tacky, then you put another coat on. Another thin coat, the same as the first coat, and then you just keep putting coats on until you've got a full coverage, or until it's how you want it. A lot of people would just spray it on, go all over. It might come out reasonable, but I'm not claiming to know everything about painting, because I know nothing about painting, but I do know that I have done a lot of painting in my time so far, and I do know that it comes out better like that if you do it that way. So that's the way I'm going to be doing it. These are coming out pretty well actually, them bar clamps. So let that bake, that coat on. I've just literally put this coat on now, so we'll let it bake on, and I'll stick another coat on. Hopefully we'll better get it all back together and buttoned up by the end of tonight. It's getting a bit late. It's early evening at the minute, so hopefully I'll get these cleaned up. I still haven't cleaned them and painted them, but I'll do that while this is drying. Hopefully we're about to get it back on and it'll be looking a bit more respectable. I don't have a big vise hooked up in here yet. It's one of the things one of the many things I keep meaning to do is get an actual big vise bolted onto one of my benches. But this little mini one's coming in quite handy. It holds 2 of these actually. You put one, halfway, and holds them pretty well. So we're getting them cleaned up very nicely. That's still cooking away over there. Don't panic about that. It's all very well doing it's hot. Doing something like this, right? But you've always got to be thinking, because you can clean out the insides of here, like I've done a little bit, but you don't want to be cleaning around in here too much, grinding too much away, because you've got to remember the handlebars go in here like that, and you've got the other ones that clamp on top. Now if you grind too much away from it here, you're going to make it bigger, and it's going to be bigger than the handlebar diameter, and it won't clamp the bar. So these are designed to be slightly smaller than the bar, so that when you do these bolts up, it clamps down on the bar and holds it still, obviously. So if you make these too much bigger on the top and the bottom ones, or even just the bottom or just the top, it won't clamp your handlebar, and you will have loose handlebars, and you'll end up having to pack it out, which isn't the end of the world. There's always a way around things like that. You can always pack it out, but it's it's nice to not have to do that, isn't it? So just something to be thinking about if you're going to be copying me in a way and doing that. Just think about, don't clean in there too much. Don't grind too much away from inside there, otherwise you'll have another problem on your hands. So I thought I'd do a little bit of an experiment. I haven't put any primer on the bottom clamps. I wanted to see how it would work, how it would go. And so far, with the first coat, it's kind of like a see-through coat. It looks a bit anodized a little bit, like a see-through sort of ready coat. I don't know. Thought we'd see how it goes. For two reasons. One, I'm very low on primer. In fact, I don't think there would have been enough to do those two bottom brackets. And also, like I said, I wanted to see what would happen. See what this paint's like. I've never used that paint. I mean, it was a brand new tin. I don't know what I was doing with it. I never used it. No idea why I bought it. Must have bought it for some reason, but never mind. So, put a coat on there. I put another coat on here now. You can see it's glistening nicely. I think I've got some lacquer. I'm sure I saw some lacquer. Here's, oh look, right in front of me. One knob. Clear lacquer. What's this one? Oh, that's positively some blue. Clear lacquer. I could lacquer it. I've got one lacquer. Not in this one. Oh look, I've got two tins of some clear lacquer. So, I could lacquer it. Is it worth lacquering it? Is it worth lacquering it? That is the question. Because when I sell this now, I've got to try and make at least enough money to cover the paint I've used, the carb spray and other bits and bobs I'd used to get it running, plus me time. I've got to make a bit of profit, haven't I? So, is it worth lacquering it? For the amount it's going to cost me just to put that lacquer on, probably a few pennies, of course it's worth lacquering it. It'll protect the handlebars, protect the paint, you know, it's what you want to be doing, so of course it's worth lacquering it. Well, it's 2 or 3 hours later now. I went away, done some stuff, come back. It was all dried, but there was a few little spots that I'd missed, so I decided to put another whole coat on that side, because I missed a few spots here and there and there. So there's another whole coat on there. The old fire's on again, heating it up. I want to button this up by tonight, by the you know, before the night's over. So you know, I want to get that done. So that's all cleaned up nicely. There's a bit of rust on the inside of them forks, but I can't get to it with the grinder. So I'm not going to get it perfect. I'm not trying to get it perfect. I was just trying to improve the looks a little bit, you know, because it's a bit upbite, but we'll see how it goes. Once these bars are on, I probably will have another go at trying to clean them up. I don't know. Who knows? I'm going to pay some attention to the other parts first. I was wondering whether to paint the exhaust. I was wondering whether to give that a clean up or just leave it with a little bit of rusty silvery colour. I don't know. I'll definitely do the manifold and the expansion chamber. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure yet. But we'll let these bars dry and then we'll get them on, and then that'll wrap that up for tonight anyway. There we go. Still a little bit tatty, mind you, but it's not finished yet. But it's a hell of a lot better than what it was before, that's for sure. These red bars come out fairly well. You know, they're not perfect. I didn't want them to be perfect. I'd have spent more time and done it properly if I wanted them to be perfect, but they do look a lot better than they did before. They look wonky in this viewfinder. Nope, they're not wonky. Definitely not wonky when I look through my proper eyes. When I look through the viewfinder, it looks wonky. Oh well, never mind. I've sat on it and I've lined them up, put them in the position that's comfortable for me, but anyone else can just undo those bolts and move the handlebars to where they want them. Nice. Very good. Pretty pleased with that. All I've got to do is mount the stop switch back where it is supposed to go, which is there, with a little bracket and a screw, a little screw there, and then we're all good and dandy. That's that then. I'm not going to do anything else to it other than wash it and get the corrosion off the engine. Other than that, sweet.